Hi there. Today we're going to start working on our login functionality. Since we do not have the sign up functionality yet, we will start creating a user at the backend itself. So, to do that, let's go to firebase.google.com. Since I'm already logged in, I can go to my console and let's go to our project here, chat app clone. Within this, we go to authentication and we need to add a user here. So since we had enabled email and password based user, we need to provide an email. It does not have to be a real email. We can provide any value that looks like an email. So let's say test@test.com and password can be 123456 and click on add user. So there we have it, our user is created. So now that we have our user set up in our backend, let's start implementing the functionality. So first off, let's open our login activity. So double shift login activity, there we have it, and let's also open our activity XML. So activity login XML. So for the purpose of adding login functionality, we will need access to all these elements, the view elements that we have. So let's get references to those first. So private text input layout, email TIL, then similarly one for password TIL. Then we would also need access to the email edit text. So text input edit text, email t, and similarly access to password et, and finally we also need access to our progress layout so that we can display it or we can enable it once we are sending a request uh, to the backend. So we have this private linear layout, progress layout. Now in order to get actually the instance for these, we have this find view by ID function which takes a resource ID. So r.id.email til for our email til field. Similarly for password til, we have find view by ID r.id.password til, and for email et we have find view by ID r.id.email et, and password et will be find view by ID r.id.password et, and finally the progress layout r.id.progress layout. So that's it. Those were the fields that we needed. Now when the user enters some values and clicks on login button, we will call this on click login button, on login method. So within this we can start implementing the actual backend call. So for that we first need to determine that there are values actually present in the input fields, the email and text fields. So let's create a boolean flag to identify that. Boolean proceed equal to true, and we need to use one library class text utils dot is empty, and if email et dot get text dot toString, is empty, then we cannot proceed, so we mark it as proceed false, and also um, print out an error message saying email is mandatory, and email.set error enabled is true. Similarly for password also, we have password et.getText.toString. If it is empty, then also we have proceed is false, and password til.set error enabled will be true, and password til.set error for error message, so that will be password is mandatory. Now once we have checked both, and if we are still good to proceed, now we need to send the actual backend call. So in order to do that, we need to have access to our Firebase auth. So we create a variable Firebase auth. So private Firebase auth equals Firebase auth dot get instance. So now that we have our instance to the Firebase auth, from here we first show the progress layout, so that the our progress bar would be shown, and then we make the actual call to Firebase auth, our backend. So what we do is sign in with email and password. So this will take two arguments, email et dot get text dot toString, and the password et dot get text dot toString. So at this point, even if we leave our code to uh, to this point, this will still be able to call the backend and most likely get successful response. So that's the beauty of using Firebase. So this is the simplicity that we get, but we would still want to add a few more functionality. So for that, let's add few listeners. So first is dot add on complete listener, and we have a task to implement here. So first would be if not task dot is successful. So if the task had actually failed to sign in, then we disable the progress layout, or so progress layout dot set visibility to view dot go on, and we try to get a localized message from any exception that might have occurred. So task dot get exception not equals null, then localized message would be equal to, so I did a typo, yeah, localized message equals task dot get exception dot get localized message, and we display this to the user by toast dot make text context as this, and message as login error plus the localized message, and finally toast dot length, let's say long dot show, right? And we add one more listener, add on failure listener. So in case the task has failed with some exception, so add on failure listener E. In this case also we want progress layout the progress wheel to be invisible. So set visibility to gone and we dot print stack trace. You can add any other exception handling that you want, but for the purpose here we are just going to print it within the logs. Right, so now we are able to make a call to backend and basically get a hopefully successful response. But when we see here for the email and password fields, once we have set the error messages, we also want some way to uh, like make those error messages disappear when the user corrects the entry. So for that we make a function private void set text changed listener and edit text et and text input layout as text input layout and et dot add text change listener to a new text watcher, and this will get you the implementation for all the required 3 methods. But what we need is just the after text changed method. So for that we add text input layout dot set error enable to false, and we need to make use of this method in so that the binding is done for edit text and input layout. So for that we do email et set so we call set text change listener with email et and email tir, and similarly for password et and password tir. Right, one more thing to do is this layout dot set on touch screen b comma e to true. So what this does is when the progress layout is visible, then the user should not be able to click anywhere on the screen. So this is the way we do that. Right. And for some of you there could be some error when we use these lambda expressions saying that the Java language level is not supported. So for that it can give you a quick fix in more actions also, but if you can also check it in this build.gradle, and we just need to add these compile options so that the source compatibility is set to Java version 8, right? And we have our text change listeners and Firebase auth. We are able to sign in also, but we are still not doing anything once we have successfully signed in. So in order to do that, we add another variable which will be Firebase auth dot state listener. Firebase auth listener equals to new Firebase auth state listener. So what this auth state listener does is whenever there is a change in the authentication state of the user, this on auth state changed method will be called. So we just first verify whether the authentication was successful or not. So we create a user ID variable and check if Firebase auth dot get current user not equals null. Then we get the user ID from Firebase auth dot get current user dot get UID, and if not text utils dot is empty the user ID. So if the user ID is available to us, that means we have successfully logged in. So we take the user to our main activity. So start activity, main activity dot new intent, and login activity dot this. Alright, and finally we finish the current login activity so that it does not keep occupying our memory. Right, so and this thing is because this particular construct, this one is a anonymous inner class, so in order to provide access to the instance of this class, we need to pass it like this. Right? And now that we have created the implementation of our listener, we need to bind it with our Firebase auth object. So for that we need to override a couple of methods. One is the onStart method. So let's leave the super statement as is, and Firebase auth dot add auth state listener to Firebase auth listener. And now that we have registered it, we also want a way to deregister it. So we say on stop. We also override on stop method, and Firebase auth dot remove auth state listener, and we provide the same auth listener. So that is it. That is how we implement the login functionality. Let's try to run our app. So there we have it. Our app is running now, and let's say what happens when I click login on empty fields, and we get the error messages that we had set. Let's change the email value. So the message is gone, but password message remains. So let's try entering some invalid credentials and click login to see what happens. So we get this message, email address is badly formatted. So let's try to add an invalid email but in a proper format, and press login. So it says no user record corresponding to this, and let's say our user is correct now but password is still incorrect, and we go for login. So it says the password is invalid or the user does not have a password. Let's try to enter the correct password also now, 123456, and click login. So this time it successfully logs in and takes us to the main activity. Right. So even if I try to close it and run it again, so this will still keep me to the main activity because my user has already logged in and the state is saved on this device or the emulator. So that is it. We have successfully implemented our login activity. In the next lecture, we will start working on our logout activity also, and then subsequently to sign up activity. So that is it for this lecture. See you again.